Welcome back, dude and dudettes, to another wild episode of Send It Mate. We're here to talk about all things hunting and outdoors. And today, we've got something that'll keep your gear running smoother than a dingo's getaway.
That's right. Our show is brought to you by High Caliber, the gun and knife oil company that knows how to keep your firearms and blades in tip-top shape.
High Caliber is like the secret sauce for hunters, anglers, and outdoorsy folk everywhere. It's like the magic potion that makes your gun and knives happier than a dog with two tails.
You know, guys, I've been using High Caliber oil for a while now, and let me tell you, it's the duck's nuts. My rifle practically sings a lullaby when I take it out hunting.
And speaking of lullabies, ever tried sneaking up on a deer with a squeaky gun? It's a prime way to end up with no venison in the freezer. You'll be hungrier than a vegan at a bacon festival.
Absolutely. But with High Caliber oil, your gun will be quieter than a ninja in moonlight. You'll be stalking your prey with the grace and stealth of a mountain lion.
High Caliber doesn't just keep things quiet, it also prevents rust and corrosion, so you won't find your gear looking like it spent a season at the bottom of a creek.
That's right, and for you knife enthusiasts out there, High Caliber has got you covered too. Your trusty blade will slice through anything smoother than butter on a hot biscuit.
So, folks, don't let your gear become a rusty, squeaky mess. Head on over to highcaliber.com.au and grab a bottle of their oil today.
And if you use the code SENDITMATE at checkout, you'll get a special discount. I say again, use the code SENDITMATE for all your oil slick, stealthy hunting needs.
Thanks to High Caliber, you'll be sending it in style and silence.
So, gear up, oil up, and send it, mate. High Caliber, the ultimate oil for the ultimate hunter.
G'day, welcome back. It's another episode of Send It Mate podcast, and I'm Caleb.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Couchy.
And we have a super exciting guest for you this week, everyone. You won't believe it, but we've got Paige Donald, who you probably have seen on Survivor, having a bit of fun. Unfortunately, she didn't win, but what can you do? Paige, how you going?
Good. How are you guys?
We are excellent and pretty stoked to have you on. So, yeah, we're keen to hear a bit about your story because obviously, yeah, we've seen you on Survivor and I'm a big fan. But also you've cropped up in the media as well with a bit of negative publicity for doing what you love doing, which is a bit of pig hunting and being overseas as well. So we're keen to hear about that as well because obviously we're big supporters of hunters and people who love the outdoors. So keen to hear a bit about that from your perspective. Yeah, what did your day look like today?
Day today, I actually slept in for once in my life. I flew in from Perth after a crazy weekend celebrating Flick Palmertier's wedding. Flick from Survivor. We were all invited to her wedding, so we all went over, and then I decided to come to Melbourne for a week because I'm going to go see Morgan Wallen. I got mosh pit front row tickets, so excited for that.
It's going to be wild, not?
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. And yeah, so I'm just in Melbourne catching up with family kind of thing, but more of just a relaxing, just getting over all the flying.
Yeah, fair enough. It sounds like it's been pretty hectic.
Yeah.
Are you going to be rocking the Crocs at Morgan Wallen?
Always rocking the Crocs. I'm so glad you guys are Croc fans. Flick asked me personally to wear the Crocs to the wedding. She's like, please tell me you're wearing those Crocs to the wedding. I said, of course.
How many pairs of Crocs do you have?
I actually own two. I have a going out pair and then like an everyday I wear while I'm on the station. I even ride them when I'm like on the horse. I wear them hunting. They come everywhere with me.
Perfect.
Crocs hunting. Do you get spear grass up north?
No, we don't have much spear grass, which is great because I would be regretting a Croc choice.
That's awesome.
I can't imagine hunting in Crocs, but if you're going through a bit of water, I suppose it'd be all right. But
it's the best. Just make sure you got full drive and you're sweet.
What do you do? You like push some nails through your soles of your feet before we drive.
You got your Croc label thing and then you push it back.
Yeah, that's right.
Haven't you seen the TikTok, Josh? Come on.
You got 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive.
Very true. I didn't pick up on that either, but I've seen. I think it was you that mentioned that before. Yeah, look, good fun. They look cool, so good on you.
Yeah, the iconic yellow Crocs.
Very good. Well, I guess something that everyone's probably wondering at this point is Survivor. How did that come about? How does one get themselves onto Survivor?
Well, I have a bit of an idea. A couple of years ago, I applied for Big Brother. I've been a Big Brother fan for ages, and I thought, I'm going to apply. I'm a bit of a quirky person, and I think I could ruffle a few feathers in the house and just have a lot of fun. So I applied for that, and I made it all the way to the Brisbane auditions, and then I made it right to the final round. And then they cut me, which was fine. And then a couple years later, I got this random phone call. I was in Coles doing some shopping, and they said, "Oh, we want you for Survivor." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, haha, funny. They're like, "No, we're serious. We want you for Survivor." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Now, like, you've got an interview with the CEO, producers on Friday, and then just me being me, totally forgot. And I was at a camp draft, and I was out in the arena just riding my horse, and they called me. They're like, "Are you doing this interview?" And I was like, "Oh shit, I better go and do that." So I had the horse in the background. I had the whole get up, cowboy hat, everything, and the horse's neighing would not shut up, and they're just laughing, just cackling, and I think I just kind of won them over by making them laugh and just being me. And yeah, and then they cut me at which was fine because I never applied for the show. And then 3 weeks to fly out, they said, "Get your passport, let's go."
Sweet.
Jeez.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Wow.
When you say
It was
cut,
hectic.
so you didn't make it, and then they just needed a filler position.
It was definitely a filler position for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fun. That's fun.
With the Big Brother thing, well, what's the process of applying for that? Like, what do they go through?
Yeah, so you apply online. They have the Channel 7 casting, and it's like 100-something questions you have to answer. Like, if you went to dinner with anybody in the world, who would your top 3 people be? So then you pick, and I think I picked someone ridiculous like Johnny Depp, Miley Cyrus, and who knows who else. Probably Steve Irwin. And I was like, could you imagine? But yeah, so you just answer all those questions, and then they call you like a couple of weeks later, and they ask the exact same questions to make sure your answers are real, I guess.
Yeah.
Because by a couple of weeks, you've forgotten what you typed.
Of course.
And I think, and so they're after like real people. And then like, okay, well, you've made it through that round. Your next round is your audition through Brisbane. And then we did a whole heap of like games and interviews, and they like bring something that means something to you. So I brought pig dog collar, and it stunk the room out. And I was like, "Yeah, have a good whiff," and they smelled it all up. So, yeah.
Oh, very cool. I can sort of see why they wanted you on Survivor, because you're a pretty straight shooter. And I think that's a good thing to see on TV, especially these days. Not many people just tell it how it is, and I think that definitely shone through as we were watching. You were sort of like the bit of the camp mum, sort of getting everything organised and sorting things out. So you did it right.
Oh, you had to. You had to, because it was pissing down raining. It rained every single day in Samoa. It is constantly damp and wet, and it was raining, and I said, "Hell no, I'm not sleeping in the rain. Like, let's get this shelter built so that we can have some sort of sleep." And nobody knew how to dig a hole. Nobody knew. They knew how to, like, an idea on what they wanted to build. Like Jerry had an idea on what he wanted to build, but he just sat back and was like marching orders around. And I'm like, I'm here digging the hole. And then the AFL footy boys got in and dug a hole, and the hole was like this wide. I'm wondering why the post won't stand up. And I'm like, dude, like, you make the hole this wide so the post just fits in, and and then jam all like rocks and stuff in it. They just had no idea. And then they were just too busy chatting. And I'm like, come on, let's just get this bloody shelter built. Let's get a fire, like going really, really good fire. Let's build a stack of firewood, because it was cold.
Mm.
Yeah.
Not something you expect in a sort of tropical location, but
Not something you expect from human beings not being able to dig a hole, man. It's pretty simple.
Oh, no idea. They're like, how did you do that? And I was like, just started digging, like it's not that retarded. They just have no idea. Like they were all famous except for myself and Maddie. Like Jerry, I guess he's pretty out there. Like he has a whole business and everything, and people have heard of him. But me and Maddie are probably the only ones that weren't in the famous spectrum, and it was quite intimidating. But once it gets to know everyone, we were all sweet. But I just enjoy the camp life. It just took to me, and I organised the fire. The boys obviously helped a fair bit, but I kept it alive for 8 days in the rain. And we put the crock pot lid over our embers while we were gone for challenges. And this left a little bit of air so that there was that little breeze keeping the ember alive, and the embers weren't getting wet. So that's how we kind of kept the fire alive.
Yeah, smart.
So that real world experience came in handy, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, something else I was really impressed with in one of the challenges that you did. I can't remember what episode it was. That's irrelevant. The challenge was basically you were standing on top of a big platform and throwing letters down chutes, and you used sign language to try and get the advantage over the other team, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. So they obviously edit out a lot, and you don't see a lot of camp chat because boring. But me and Benji are good mates, and we were talking about how his cousin was deaf. And I said, my mum's deaf. And I said, do you know any sign language? And he's like, yeah, I know the alphabet. I was like, perfect. I was like, I know the alphabet too. And it was just a moment we really wanted to win that challenge. We needed to win. And it just all clicked, and I was like, it's letters. Let's sign them. And I yelled out to Benji, sign them to me, and it just worked. We won by like this much. They had to go and review it to see who actually dropped it. Like,
oh really?
Dropped it in there first. Yeah, and we were very lucky. And Mum's super proud, obviously, of that episode, and the deaf community have been watching like mad because they could not wait for that episode.
That was a really cool moment, I reckon. Yeah. So good on you for doing it. Yeah, like I said, unfortunately you didn't win. You got blindsided, but would you do it again? Is it worth it?
Oh my God. I felt at home playing the game. I played like a lot of myself, like loyalty, mateship kind of game. I definitely would change my gameplay a little bit more. Probably for myself, I was like the nice guy because I really don't have a mean bone in my body. And, I gave George 60 grand, which he rubbed in quite a lot on the weekend. It was a bit of a sore talking point. He's like, I'm going to go get this done. It costs 15 grand. Thanks for the 60. And I was like, thanks, mate.
Oh, tricky.
Yeah, so I would definitely play for myself more or less than like being the nice guy. I'd still be loyal to my alliances, I think, but yeah, I would definitely be playing myself first. But yeah, definitely would go back anytime. I'm going to apply. They've got casting out now, so I'm just going to apply again.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, there's so many people that were on this season that have been on before 2 and 3 times, so you never know, you might get another gig.
Yep.
Now, Paige, what we do want to know is what you do in life outside of Survivor. So we'll get stuck into some questions with it, get to know you, and our listeners are pretty keen for that. So firstly, sure. Whereabouts are you actually from?
So I'm from Gundy, small like Gundawindi, Inglewood area, which is on the border of New South Wales, Queensland, on the Queensland side. So grew up there my whole life, just a small town. We own about 1,100 acres, about 30k out. But now I live in central Queensland in a small town called Springshaw.
Very good. Now, what do you prefer? Because there's many terms that you see that describe you. Cowgirl, ringer, jillaroo. What do you prefer?
Oh my God. I told Channel 10 to stop calling me a jillaroo. I was like, I am not a jillaroo. I said I'm a ringer, if anything. But nobody knows what a ringer is, so they had to use jillaroo. I'm a bit of a cowgirl, a bit of a ringer. Obviously, I do some crazy stuff outside of my work life, and but I also love the ringing side of being on a cattle station.
So Channel 10, all the media does actually pull the piss then. We've got it first hand.
I was like, can you please not call me a Jillaroo? Because a Jillaroo is essentially a first year, right? You got Jill and Jack, boy and girl. So you got Jillaroo, Jackaroo. Then the roo comment comes from it being a roo, like an idiot. Because you don't know, because you're a first year.
Ah, well, there you go.
That's what. And then when you get more experience, you become a ringer.
Yep.
So
There you
I
go.
actually didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that either. So it's kind of like an insult to be called a Jillaroo when you've been around the traps for a while.
That makes a lot of sense. Is there any progression from ringer?
yeah, I had just like a couple years experience. Once you're like 2-3 years in, then you're right to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Or you got common sense.
I think he asked, is there anything past
Sorry.
What's
past
after ringer?
ringer?
Oh, yeah. It's a
Oh,
progression.
past the ringer. Head stockman. So you got ringer, Jillaroo, Jackaroo, head ringer. Then you got head stockman. Then you got manager.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got any ambitions to manage your own station any day?
I actually work. My manager is actually a woman, and she manages a place on her own.
Yep.
So it's quite inspiring to see that because you did not see many full-on managers that are women. I get a lot of assistant managers that are like that, the manager's wife, but you never see a straight full-on woman as a manager, which is super cool. I think I'm done being a ringer. I think I want to go be a cop.
Oh,
Nice.
Movie star and
so
a
I want
cop.
to do something different.
Or TV star and a cop. You should start your own late night show. And then
I should.
cop by night and TV host cop by day and TV host by night. Yeah.
why not?
What sort of draws you in to be a cop?
From I think a 3-year-old girl, I can just remember always wanting to be a cop. I really want to go in like stock squad or something. Yeah.
What does that involve?
Yeah, I think like anything like to do with stolen cattle, stolen anything stock related, stolen, and then thefts. I think is like I don't know what I think it's just mainly like all rural, and they muster up what's been stolen. So it's really handy to have that mustering experience.
Yeah, actually, I only learned recently about some of those rural crimes where they just rock up with a truck and load a couple $100 grand worth of stock on, and away they go. And you think, how does anyone steal like 100 cows? But
It's quite a bit.
yeah, apparently it does. So it's nuts.
It does. It happens. So yeah, my avenue into that. So it's still like rural, but yeah, I think it's a good job, and Australia needs more coppers. So I think it would be suited to me.
Should do it. Good luck to you.
Yeah, definitely. Shift work. That's the only downside of being a cop.
Yeah.
But you ask how, Caleb, people steal cattle. You just make it look like you're supposed to be there and just act like you're supposed to be there, and you get away with it, mate.
It's like as soon as you jump on high vis, no one's going to stop you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's going to ask questions if you look the part.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very true.
As long as I don't see you cutting the fence to get in there, then
Exactly. Hey, now, Paige, we watched you cook rice and beans for a few weeks on Survivor.
Yeah.
But the next question is, what is your favourite food?
Favorite food? Obviously, I like on Survivor, how I said I love a good steak. And then I love a good, like a reef and beef or a surf and turf, whatever you guys call it. But I just can't go past oyster Kilpatrick's.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Devon.
Yeah.
yeah. I could eat 24 oyster Kilpatrick's and just drink beer and eat oysters all day long.
And then eat a steak or a surf and turf after. It's
Yeah.
it's an entree. It's like a must-have entree if you can get it. Bloody hell.
100%.
I got to ask, like, on Survivor, do they actually give you any other food other than what they show?
No. So we're rationed with rice and beans. So Benji would get the food, he would wash the rice, get the beans ready, but I did most of the cooking majority of the time because I freaking hate burnt anything. So I didn't want to have burnt rice or sloppy rice. And I cooked it in the crock pot straight away, and it just worked. It steamed up beautiful, and we had beautiful rice, and sometimes we'd add seawater in there for like a bit of saltiness. But yeah, we just got the rationed, and if we ate all our rations before 4 days, that was it. They weren't giving us any more. And then we had what we won on the challenges, but we were freaking stitched up every single time. Stitch, frozen pizza not cooked, mate. I was like, I'm gonna cook mine on the fire, and everyone's like, no, we've got to eat it now. And I was like, mate, I'll put that on the crock pot lid and just sit it in the embers. It would have cooked beautifully, but no, not for the cameras.
That's a bit rough, frozen pizza.
That's
right?
hilarious.
Rough. Oh,
Was it at least
And
cooked
then we
first,
had-
then frozen?
no, raw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shit.
raw frozen pizza. It was awful. I had like one piece, so I just felt so sick. And then we got stitched up in the bakery bonanza. Thankfully, Sammy was my really good mate and gave me the meat pie.
Yeah, saw that.
That was great, but it was stone cold.
So what was your first like dish that you had when you got out? Like, you obviously craved something while you're out there, steak, I'm presuming.
Oh yeah, came back and had a surf and turf.
Perfect.
How good is that first bite after not eating it for a while? You're just like, oh, damn.
Yeah, it was good, but it was also stone cold because I know you get out. It's like by the time you like film your exit interview and then you have a good cry to yourself, and then you go back to your motel room, and then when they bring it, it's like super cold because kitchen's been closed for hours because it's like 11:30 at night, 12 o'clock at night, and but you eat it anyway. They had so much food. I was like, what do I go? Like there was dessert. I was like, okay, what do I go for first?
Fair enough. Well, it sounds like your experience was full of cold food, unfortunately.
Just make you more miserable.
Hey, Paige, what was your first job?
So my grandfather, I grew up with my grandparents, and he owns a cool little business called Outback Adventure Parks, and he had like horse riding, trail riding, hunting, guided hunting tours, guided bushwalks, and we did all that. And then right from a little girl, we had a lot of duck hunters come over. So I would jump on a quad bike, like 4 or 5 years old, jump on the quad bike with 2 blokes. My grandfather would have another 2 blokes, and we'd just set up at dams. I'd just set everyone up at dams, and the ducks would just fly to this dam to the next dam. And then that's kind of what I did. And then when I got a bit older and he started paying me in cash, he also had a skirmish, like paintball skirmish set up.
Oh, nice.
So I helped out a lot in that, and then I ended up kind of managing all the games and taking over a little bit. I was only like 12, 13, so I got a bit cash in hand. And then, but other than that, actual real job I had since I was 13, I just worked at a chemist on the weekends.
Yeah, nice. Well, it sounds like the outdoor sort of pursuits is in the blood, other than the chemist, but being outdoors and hunting and being around all that sort of stuff sounds like it's in your blood. So it was inevitable you were going to progress the way you did.
Definitely. I grew up on a gun range as well. We had our own gun range, so shot a lot. Very good shots. I don't shoot as much now, so just so busy. But rifle, especially handgun, very good at handgun.
Yeah, nice. I did read somewhere, and I think I found an ABC article. You used to do a bit of pro roo shooting.
Yeah. So me and my ex-partner, Mark, we did full-time together as a job roo shooting. I was his offsider. Did that for like a year and a half with him, and learned a lot about the country, especially about that Quilpie area, like different grasses, different birds, and the different kind of roos. And it was really enjoyable. I enjoyed it. It wasn't making as good money as it is now. I think it was 65 cents when I did it, a kilo. And then you go to you go into Coles and it'd be $28 a kilo, but they're paying us 65 cents.
That's crazy.
With the kangaroo shooter, what's involved with getting your certification to do that?
Yeah, so you go through a test, you get an accuracy shot test because you got to make sure you're accurate because it's got to be headshot only. Any body shots you'll get fined, you'll be in big trouble for. And then you apply to be accredited. and then you go and do a test. They test you on it, and if you get it all right, and then you've got to make sure your car, you got stainless steel and stuff like that, like your rack's all set up properly, and you've got your gun license, and then it costs about $360 a year, I think, to keep accredited.
Mm-hmm.
And they will audit you as well.
Yep, of course. It strikes me as hard work. Like, what sort of numbers are we talking in an average night?
Okay. Depending on the country. So, say we're doing a night out at Quilpie, they're mainly red roofs out there. So, we would drive, it'd take 2 hours, 2.5 hours to get to Quilpie to the place.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'd leave about 3:30 in the afternoon. Get there, start shooting. You'd at least want 14 before 10:30 at night to like get yourself on a roll. And then usually when we're out shooting at Quilpie, it'd be 70 a night.
Bloody hell.
And that's as many as like, that's all your crate can fit.
Yep.
There'd be 70 roos. And so we'd have about 14 gut ups. So 14 roos hanging. He would gut them all, and I would like help with the tags or anything else that he needed a hand with. Then we would load them on and then go and shoot another 14 to 20. And then, just keep going until we had a time limit, tried to leave by 2:00 in the morning to drive back, to be back about sunset time, because a load of 70 roos is a lot of weight. It's over a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the weight's up here. So it literally feels like you're driving a boat on the bitumen, because like the whole car just sways.
Yeah, wow.
So you can't sit there and do 110, probably like 90 or something when you got 70 roos on, because it's such a load. And and then by the time you get to the box, it's like 6:00. Then you unload all the roos, put them in the chiller. Then go home, have breakfast or dinner, go to bed.
Far out.
Is there any consideration of the health of the roos when you're sort of harvesting them? Like,
definitely. Like if something is not healthy at all, like we definitely don't put that on, because you get condemned if you bring in anything that's crook. But it's all headshots. Everything's headshots, straight away, killed, boom. So it's all people who buy kangaroo in the store, they've got no idea where it actually comes from, because kangaroos aren't farmed or like farmed like that for meat. Like they're actually gone out and shot in the paddock.
Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
We often talk on the podcast about how when we were kids growing up, well, in the 90s, roo meat was dirt cheap. And that's why, growing up with not a heap of money, Mum and Dad used to feed us a shit ton of roo. And now it's like,
oh, really?
Yeah, it's this gourmet game meat, and you're just like, come on. And then obviously as well, doing a bit of shooting ourselves and being involved in some culls, after a while you just get sick of roo meat. Like it gets old real quick.
It does. And the different roos have like a different smell. Like the grey kangaroos have like a real curry smell to them.
Mm.
When they've sweated, they do. They smell like a real like weird curry smell. It's kind of gross.
I can't say I've noticed a curry smell, but yeah, they do definitely have a strong smell, like between reds and greys. So I might pay more attention next time.
Maybe that's why they taste good in a curry. Are there any sort of aspects of getting the meat chilled as quick as possible that you've got to adhere to?
I think it's 12 hours
12
since
hours.
you shot it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, you wouldn't shoot it during the day and bring them in because they would bloat, but they're gutted, and when you put them on gutted, when you're driving around with them on the back, they're being aired out. So, a bit of dust might get in them. I wouldn't personally eat roo from the supermarket because I know where it comes from. But sitting on the back of the ute for 12 hours. So 12 hours from being on the back of the ute to being in the chiller, but not necessary. Sometimes you can have bad nights when you're out there for 6 hours or something and you only got 20 roos and you're like, oh, I'm just going to go home, or it starts raining or something. So, so just depending on how far you are as well. But basically, once they get shot, hung up, gutted, and then on the back of the ute, once you got how many you need or it's time to go home, then go straight into the chiller box, and they wait in the chiller box from anywhere from a couple days to 7 is the max days they can be in the chiller.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So how did you progress from that and, land yourself in your current gig as a ringer Not a Jillaroo.
Yeah.
Well, did you start as a Jillaroo? How did you do that?
Well, you had to have started as a Jillaroo, mate.
think
It's
so.
a greenhorn.
Yeah, so I started off as a Jillaroo first before roo shooting.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I met a bloke. He kind of he was a ringer and he introduced me to the world because when I was 18, I was in a small country town, but I still didn't really know that kind of job existed. And I don't think many people do. And he introduced me to the life. And then so I just went on a station and loved it. And then just traveled around a fair bit, went to the territory, fair bit around Queensland. And then I met my ex-partner Mark, and that's when I did roo shooting then.
Okay. We filled in the blanks. Nice. Cool. I guess what I'm sort of wanting to know is how is that lifestyle? And especially it tends to be more male dominated, doesn't it? So what's your thoughts there? Do you find you come up against any sort of sexism or anything in your role, or is it pretty cool?
Actually, these days there are more female ringers than blokes.
Really?
Oh.
100%. There. And people don't mind hiring females because we're not only just on horses and everything. We're in machinery, vehicles, and women tend. That's why the mines like women as well, because women tend to take more care of the vehicles and of machinery than men do. So I find probably at the start there was only the female industry coming into the industry was getting there when I first started.
Yep.
But now it's just more dominated. My next door neighbour station's been trying to get male ringers and they can only get females.
Wow.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
It's kind of true, though, because my work has hired 2 females recently, 2 weeks. And from what I've seen there as well, they do perform better. They listen better. And they do look after the equipment better as well. So...
Yeah,
It's true.
It's true. That's why the mines love hiring women, because we look after things a little bit better. We keep it a bit more cleaner. I guess it's not always the case. Definitely not. But I find that they don't have a problem with hiring women, and there's not many people don't ride horses anymore, especially men, as to prefer the women riding horses too.
I did notice that you do a bit of your own shoeing or trimming of your horses as well, which is kind of unusual. Not many people know how to do that, let alone do it themselves.
I will pay anybody to come shoe my horse. It is the worst job in the world. My back hurts, everything aches, and then the horse leans on you. But yeah, I do it myself. But if I get an off chance and I'm at an event and there's a farrier going around, I will pay them to do it. But yeah, no. Most stations now will have, at the start of the year, we'll have courses where they will teach everyone motorbike skills, horse riding skills, how to shoe a horse and everything, which is great because I think if you own a horse, you should be able to do its feet.
It's kind of the same as owning a car. You should know how to change a tyre.
100%.
Some basic maintenance.
Well, what got you into horse riding? Was that something from your grandfather, or did you learn that on the job?
Yeah, so my grandfather had the trail riding business right from when I was a little girl, grew up on horses. I think I'll have to send it to you guys, a photo of me on this really, really big horse, and it's this little tiny child on this horse. Been riding my whole life kind of thing, nothing serious, just plotting around the farm. A lot of bareback riding, and then when I got into stations, I try and apply for places that do mainly horses over bikes because I suck on a motorbike. If I've not fallen off 3 times by the day's end, then that's a record.
Yeah,
Could always jump on a bull instead.
A bull?
Yeah.
No, I'm terrified of bulls. Obviously I ride bucking horses as well, so I jump on a bucking horse any day of the week over a bull.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit less weight to crush you, but you still got the helmet on, you still got all the gear. Is it the same sort of rules as well? You got to stay on for 8 seconds and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so we're trying to get it out there. It's a ranch bronc. It's an American style bronc riding.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a women's association over in America and Canada that have a world finals for women. And it's really cool because you sit in these really big saddles that really sit you in deep, and then you get to hold on with two hands. Like they call it a night latch, or you got like a rope where you rope the cattle and you hold on with two hands, like your rein hand, and then you've got your rope, like your night latch, and you just hold on. You ride for 8 seconds, just like the blokes do. And yeah, you just hold on. And I always wear safety, helmet, vest, chaps.
I've heard that broncs can be more dangerous than a bull.
Yeah.
So
That's what bull riders say. Bull riders are terrified of horses. You will never see a bull rider ride a bronc, but the bronc riders will do both. It's quite funny. But yeah, no, it's just, I guess, the bull wants to come around, like turn around and hurt you, where horses just kind of want to get you off. You know, they're not as aggressive.
Yeah. Have you had any bad stacks?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I tried saddle bronc, which is the Australian version. I was at Cunnamulla at a rodeo, and it was like my 4th ever horse. I was like, oh, I'm just going to go and do it. Got in the shower and I just got absolutely smashed on the back of this saddle and then stomped all over. Huge bruises all over my body. I think nearly 4 weeks ago now, I was in Gatton at Ken Reid School and I got smashed into the fence. Luckily, I was wearing a helmet because I went head first, but I hurt all my elbow. I've still got, I think, a hematoma on my elbow there somewhere. It's not going away. Injuries.
You're putting yourself through the ringer by the sounds of it. Maybe that's why you call it a ringer. All right, I couldn't do it. Hats off to you, Paige.
I chase adrenaline, so it's just a big kick for me. Love it.
Nice. Well, next question is, who inspires you the most?
Oh, I really struggled with this question. I really did, because I'm like, I don't really have a set person who inspires me.
Mm.
I'm a big fan of Zoe Carter.
Okay.
I think she's great. She's good for the agricultural industry because she's trying to not only, bring a light to it, but also educate people, which is great. And she also does like hunting as well. But then there's like women in the bronc riding industry that I also follow, like Corey Ford. They're just amazing and just can ride and are so brave. But yeah, I kind of just like doing my own thing and just going along. If I feel like it's right, it's right. But yeah, it's probably like Zoe Carter.
Yep. Sounds like you just like choosing your own adventure and, saying yes to things and giving it a go, which is a great attitude to have, really.
Yeah. I don't really want to be like it's set in a certain way because there's so many different ways of learning, whether it's hunting or, in the agriculture industry. I don't think being set on a focus on one person is ideal. I think there's so much to learn from everybody.
Yeah.
100%. Now, in terms of chasing the hunting passion and the dreams, obviously it came up in the media about, she's a trophy hunter and she's been to Africa and, there's a fucking pillaged through your Instagram and found photos from a long time ago with you of the kudu and whatever. And how do those trips come about for you? Like, what was that about as you would describe it?
Yeah. So I want to talk about my African trip.
Yes, sure. Let's go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So I was 17. I think I was in year 12. I skipped out on a heap of year 12 exams because grandfather was like, I really want to take you to Africa. And I was like, yeah, fuck school. Like, let's go hunting. Been hunting my whole life. And Africa, like, what an opportunity. When I went over there, I fell in love with the place. The country's very similar to Australia, where I was. And I was around Thabazimbi in South Africa. And it was such an experience to go over there and hunt. We did a lot of walking, a lot of stalking, fair bit of driving around and seeing all the different animals. I couldn't believe how well blended the zebras are. It's like almost impossible to see them in the bush.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you think like it's white and black animal stand out like nothing, but they're actually really hard to spot through the bush.
Wouldn't have guessed that.
That's something I found. So in Adelaide, we've got the Monado Zoo. So that's a sort of almost a safari zoo.
Yeah.
and zebras there. And that's one thing I did notice with going through the tours there was you see one zebra and you're looking at it, and then you start actually looking, and just these zebras just start popping up behind it that you had no idea what was there. And you're like, how?
Yeah. Yeah. They really blend into the bush. So I did a post. I feel like just doing a post of like, flashback. South African
do
trip, because I only shot a kudu and a warthog, but we shot heaps of animals on it. I think we shot 14 animals between all of us. Like we shot wildebeest and we shot zebras. I think we shot like 3 zebras. So could you imagine if I put up posing next to a dead zebra?
Do it.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Big middle finger to the media.
While we're sort of on that subject a little bit as well, how are you going with all them sort of negative comments and the
Death threats.
just everything that's sort of happening?
Oh.
Is it still going?
It was insane because where the station I live on, I've got no service or Wi-Fi, and I had to drive next door to my friend's station, and which is 35k, so 70-kilometer round trip to get service. And if I didn't go every 3 days, I'd have 50 plus messages on Instagram. Like that, it got a little bit too much at the end, like just the constantness. Because I was there to like see my friend and like enjoy, but my phone I'd just be like glued to my phone. And they say you shouldn't read the comments, but human nature.
Yeah.
It takes over. I had lots of, go shoot yourself or go slit your throat or hope pack a dog or your dogs turn on you and chew you, and like some of the stuff is so bad. Like one guy said that the only way I could lose my virginity was by an Aboriginal man just getting out of jail after 50 years, like raping me.
Oh, jeez. What the hell
Like
is
that,
wrong with people?
Yeah. It's awful. Like I just delete all that stuff. Oh man, that's anything. I just delete all that stuff. Had heaps of so many comments and all my pigging photos and all that. I haven't gone through and deleted them because there's just too many.
Yeah.
I just let them go.
You didn't ever try to respond to any of them and justify
No.
it?
That's probably the worst thing you can do.
No, that's why I definitely was keen on talking about. Like, these animal activists or these trolls, they have tunnel vision. It's a losing battle trying to argue with someone with tunnel vision because they only see what they want to see. They don't want to see the real world, and they're probably walking around with leather shoes on, or a leather belt, or they've got like their $2,000 Gucci handbag, and it's quite frustrating because they're so contradicting. And how can you say save the animals, but then telling me to go slit my throat?
Yeah, it's I can see why it'd be very frustrating, and the media narrative is ridiculous at times. And I think people just don't understand. Like for someone like you, growing up hunting, going out getting pigs, that's just part of everyday life. Like it's like playing cricket on the weekend. It's
better than playing cricket.
Shut up. It's just ingrained in your way of life. And yeah, fair enough. If you've grown up in the city and you've never been around that, it seems like a real foreign concept. But that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. Like, try it. And I don't think people should ever judge until they've tried something themselves. But unfortunately, people are just swindled by the media narrative, and they go, "Oh, no, she's a terrible person because she hunts and she shot these animals over in Africa."
Yeah,
it's so frustrating.
Yeah, what was frustrating was seeing all the fans really like it. Like because I played main character for like quite a couple episodes before I got voted off because I am such a character. I am such a character. Like I am a bit like more out there than other people, and so everyone was loving me. Like I had heaps of fans, and like I was on all the Facebook Survivor fan group, and people were like, "Oh, I really want Paige to win. Like, really liking her." The second they saw that I hunt, it was like they did a full 360 and was like, "Nah, she's a psycho." But like, what's my personality? Like, I'm still the same person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm still the same loving, kind, loyal person. Just because I enjoy the hunting on like in my spare time doesn't make me a psychopath.
It's
But-
it's one of those things I think these days where people think that if they like someone, they should like everything about them. Where, like, I guess back in our parents' day and all that, you could sort of you can dislike something about someone, but still get along and be mates with them, or to be a
100%.
fan of yourself, for example. So
Yeah.
it's just it's weird to see.
And I think they really struggle with the African thing because it's an exotic animal to us, right?
Yep.
And, well, a roo is an exotic animal to
Chinese.
foreigners, to our country, but you'll go and buy it and eat it in the supermarket. But then shooting an animal, like an African animal, is because it's a exotic animal. But over there, it's just another, it's like a roo to us essentially.
Yeah, and that's it. Unless you've looked into it a bit, people don't realise what actually goes on to go and hunt over in Africa and how the money gets back into the community and all those sort of things. So it's actually quite sustainable. Unless you're over there poaching, it's actually a good thing for the community. So
That's right. That's right. So, like, when we shot the kudu, we had that kudu steak that night. So we got to try everything that we shot and ate. But, like, there was only 4 of us. So 4 of us ain't going to eat a whole kudu, So the workers who got the leftover meat, they got to take back to their village, their little tribe back at home. So it all just, like, revolves around in this big circle. And I paid $2.5 US to shoot the kudu, which goes back into fencing and, making sure that there's enough kudu around or whatever animal that you're hunting. And then also it's giving the African people jobs.
exactly.
I think they fail to see
Giving
the
them
benefits.
jobs.
Well, they just choose to ignore the benefits if they do hear about them or listen to them. The haters just, don't even want to take it into consideration, really, man.
No.
That's that tunnel vision. That's why I think there's no point arguing with them because it's a losing battle. Let them think that's fine. But you don't have to follow me on Instagram. You don't have to look at it. Why are you stalking me and looking at what I do?
Yeah. Unfortunately, people go looking for things to cancel people over these days. It's absolutely absurd because, as you said, if you'd watched you for all the episodes you're on Survivor and your personality shone through, bubbly, larger than life character, you're so loyal, you rallied everyone, and that should be the only thing people are looking at, really.
Loyalty on Survivor is probably not a winning combination, to be honest.
Yeah, you've got to be more selfish next time,
Yeah,
Paige.
bit of backstabbing.
I will be.
Bloody hell.
Yes. Yeah, no, it was definitely a learning curve. But yeah, that's exactly right. I am still the same person I am, but just because I have a hobby that you don't like I couldn't sit at home and watch the Formula One go around in circles, but I don't go bashing my friend because they do,
Yeah.
Exactly.
How did the staff off camera treat you after finding that out?
Yeah, pretty good. They were pretty good. Like, I had a psychologist who was with us throughout the whole game. She called me to make sure I was dealing with the hate okay, because they were actually concerned. Channel 10 weren't really happy because they didn't even post my tribal, me getting snuffed. Everyone else has posted except for me, which is quite annoyed at. But yeah, no, they were there for me a little bit. The psychiatrist did call me to check on me a couple times now, and so I was quite lucky in that sense. And like I said to Rogue, after Rogue had exposed me, some people just need to stay in their lanes, which is true.
Yep.
Mind your own damn business. But I wish I worded a few more things a bit better because I was just so angry that she'd done that to me, and my lash out could have been a little bit better, I guess, but I was pretty happy with what I said back to her, so. Yeah,
benefit of hindsight.
Yeah.
I mean, the weird thing is, it's not like you're hiding what you do. You just find your Instagram; it's full of it. So, it's not like you're hiding this secret past of trophy hunting in Africa. It's there.
100%, yeah, 100%. They knew exactly who I was when they signed me up.
Yep.
But I also think they wanted. So they had Rogue on the show, who's an animal conservationist, and she has her lion film, and the way she freaking carried on about, oh, I had to lock myself away in a room from all these hunters with guns, and I'm like, no, like we're there to hunt the animal. We're not going to hurt anybody, we're not there to hurt people. So it was quite frustrating her carrying on like that. Like, she's felt so unsafe around these people with guns. But I'd be more scared of the lions walking around than anything,
Oh, she was super annoying to watch, I must admit. And just the way, how abrasive she was to everyone for no reason.
Oh,
and I do say, well, how much of that's editing and how much is that real? Was she just an abrasive person in real life?
What you guys saw on TV was 2% of who she actually was. She was way worse in, like, behind what they didn't show. Yeah. Like, I couldn't believe what she said to Nina about being more African American than her. Yeah. Like, are you kidding me?
Just craziness.
So yeah, because Nina is African American.
Yeah.
And Rogue is as white as me. Like, I'm a redhead. I'm like as white as you can get. And Rogue is like as white as me. And she goes up to Nina, who's an African American, and it's like, I'm more African American than you because I've lived in Africa and I've lived in America.
Just a weird thing to say, eh?
What a pompous mole.
Literally, yeah, it's really bad. And like, what you guys saw was nothing to like what we experienced. There were so many times, it's nighttime and we're all like kind of getting into our sleeping position for the night, and we will all just be like chatting. We had, we made it a thing every night. We would do a high, low, funny. So everyone would talk about their low for the day, their high for the day, and the funny for the day. And she would just start talking over top of people, right? And one night I just sat up and I was like, Rogue, shut the fuck up. I said, no one wants to hear you, mate. I was like, nobody wants to hear you. Like, just shut up. And she's like, oh, someone's grumpy. And I was like, oh, my God. And that's 10 or 10, I think, like, producers really wanted us to, like, even have a big go about the whole hunting thing. And when we first got to the beach at our camp, we were all standing in a big semicircle telling, who we were. And I'm like, I chase cows or whatever. And she's like, I'm an animal activist or whatever she is. And afterwards, they didn't get this, but I walked straight up to her, like a beeline for her. And I was like, hey, look, I've been to Africa. I hunt all the time. I've been trophy hunting. This is who I am. I was like, as long as you keep your opinions to yourself, I'll keep my opinions to myself. I will not talk about hunting around you if you don't feel comfortable, and you do the same with me. I said, we will not have an issue. I just went straight up to her and said that. And she was good about it, actually.
Okay.
She's like, yeah, that's obviously what production wants. That sounds good to me. But she's like, I'll change your mind about hunting, though.
That's not really part of the agreement.
There's that tunnel vision.
Had to put that little drive-by in there. I mean, yeah, wow.
There's an invalid point here. Animal activism is a job. A full-time job. Is that a thing now?
Yeah, and like I was like, oh, this Sheila's got tunnel vision, which is fine. So I'm not going to argue with her. But then our personalities clashed because she was so rude to not only us, she was so rude to the film crew. And yes, what we were going through was pretty rough, but that's their job. You don't take it out on them. You just don't be rude. Like, we're all tired. We're all hungry. We're all cold. We all need to pee on the back of the bus, but there's no need to be rude to the staff. And I apologise on her behalf so many times to the crew because I felt so sorry for them. One time we were getting mic'd up and the mic person's like, oh, can you just talk into your mic? And she just like walks up to this person. I was like, fuck you.
Oof.
Oh,
what?
I felt like knocking her out. And that's why we threw that challenge, because even production were like, probably thank God they're throwing this challenge to get rid of her. Even though it would probably been ideal to get rid of like someone big like Haley or something. But she was so bad. We could have made a really big move and got rid of like a big player. but she was so awful. She had to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's bringing the morale of the whole crew down, I guess. So you just get her out.
That's right.
Toxic.
That definitely came across.
Did she see it coming?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we couldn't wait. It was like freedom when we got rid of her. Sean just sat there and was like, God, it feels good. I know.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than being in camp with a bit of tension or just someone being an absolute idiot. Like, just ruins the whole experience. So. Not survivor camp, obviously. We're talking hunting camp.
Yeah.
Much similar. I
Could
think.
you imagine?
Kind of.
Yeah. Well, actually, the second before we walked into camp, because there were heaps of feral pigs there, right?
Oh.
Heaps of feral pigs, yeah. They pulled me aside and they're like, you are not allowed to kill anything.
What?
Oh, that'd be hard.
Like,
when-
we're surviving. Like, I was like, oh my God, I was like to everybody at camp, I was like, oh my God, here we go. I'm going to catch a pig and we're going to have like a spit roast pig for dinner. Like, we're going to be living the best life here at the camp. And everyone's like, oh, we can't wait. And they pulled me aside and they're like, no, not allowed. Not allowed to kill anything. And the only thing I could kill was crabs and fish, which are animals anyway.
Bugger, that's no fun at all.
that would have been hard to look at, knowing that you could do it and you know how to do it, but yet you couldn't eat it.
Yeah. Oh, we weren't allowed. Yeah. But it's so funny because the fish is a living, breathing animal. What's the difference, And a lot of people see that as a huge difference between, like a rabbit, a pig, a fox compared to a fish. A lot of people separate that from being cruel, if you like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's quite frustrating. I'm like, well, fish is a living animal, so why can't I kill a pig? Why is everyone okay with their fish being killed?
It does make sense. It's contradictory because, somehow the media's sanitized fishing so everyone can accept it. But if you think about how a fish dies, quite often you reel it in and then it just gets starved of oxygen. And what a way to die.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Versus being ethically shot and
Let's not
put
destroy
down in a
fishing
couple
as
of
well. Like,
seconds. No, let's not do that.
let's take that out.
That's true. Sorry to the fishers, guys. Because we had like big machetes and stuff. I was like, oh, I'll just like chase the pig down, like it'd be easy. Like not a big one, just like a little, like a good tasty one. And I was like, oh, we're going to be eating like kings.
That would have been sweet, actually.
You should have just done it. You should have just been like week out from like getting the feeling that you were going to leave or something. You should have just been like, nah, I'm going for gold.
And they would have shown it because it would have been great media.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. But yeah, they pulled me aside like, no killing anything. And I'm like, oh, darn it. I was so excited because there was heaps of feral pigs and like we had heaps of dogs in our camp as well.
Oh, really?
So we had to like hide all the food from the dogs.
Wouldn't have thought that, but wow, there you go. This is the behind the scenes Survivor stuff we just don't know. So thanks for the insight, Paige.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. We were sitting around the fire talking, and the moon was quite bright that night. And the cameraman was like, the night crew cameraman, he was really awesome. And he was like, he puts the camera down and he goes, I don't mean to alarm you all. And I'm like, you don't just start off with that. I was like, what is it? He's like, there's a dog behind, and everyone starts freaking out. I'm like just walking out there to the dog and like grab a big stick just to like scare it away. But that's like, so the first couple nights we're all trying to sleep. No, you don't get many hours of sleep because you're all excited and adrenaline and it's cold and wet and you're hungry and tired and we're all like dead ass asleep, and someone just stands up and jumping up and down and starts screaming. And we're like, everyone just jumps up and starts screaming like, what is this? And everyone's like, it's a rat. And like everyone's screaming that there's rats crawling all over us, like big bush rats, right? And then we ended up naming this rat Bronson. So we had Bronson the rat. And everyone just starts like 2 or 3 times a night. Everyone's screaming, saying that there's rats crawling all over them. And then me and David Zacharakis, the AFL football player, this night, all my clothes were wet and I was sleeping in just a bikini and I was freezing my ass off. And David was keeping me warm because That's what you got to do when you survive. And then
I'm sure you weren't complaining, Paige.
Clothes weren't wet.
Zaka goes all right.
Oh, it goes all right. And not only did I say that on national TV, that was super embarrassing. So I put that in the edit. And anyway, we're cuddling, and he's like, Paige, you got the rats in between me and you. I was like, oh my God, okay. I was like, you keep an eye on it, because it's pitch black. It's absolute pitch black in the jungle. And I was like, right, you keep an eye on it. I'm going to go get a big stick. So I'm like fumbling around trying to find this big stick, and I find one. He goes, it's in these rocks, and everyone's on this. And I'm like going for this rat. Right? I'm like going for it. And you know how rats like attack you back if you corner a rat?
Yeah.
This thing jumped up in the air, and I'm like screaming, attacking this rat, and the cameraman is like running over to see what's going on. And then everyone's like, did you get it? I was like, I got it. It's dead. And we couldn't see. So the cameraman like Chinese light for us, and it was a crab. The whole time it was crabs crawling all over us in the middle of the night.
That was dinner.
Dinner, yeah. We ate him the next day. But because crab love human meat. Crab will eat human meat. So, but yeah, crabs were crawling all over us in the middle of the night. And then by like, day 12, we got so used to you just brush them off in your sleep.
Far out. That sounds crazy. Hey, Paige, you're willing to jump out there and take on a boar and whatever else, but what is the most dangerous thing you've ever done?
I was thinking about this question because I was like, my workplace is really dangerous. Riding horses, being in the yards with cattle, flat gallop after beast. Then I do my bronco riding, which is also super dangerous. Then also pigging as well, because I do most of my hunting on my own. So
yeah,
I'm going to do a combination of all three.
Go for it. We want to hear.
Yeah. So when I'm on my own out pigging, it could always take a dog to get killed, or or a dog being injured, or the dogs are knocked up. The pig turns around and chews my leg, or gets me in the tusk. It could be anything from like being bitten by. I'm running out there like 1.5K out to my dog. I get bitten by a brown snake or something. You're not supposed to move. So like, how am I going to get? I've got no service. So how am I not, like, I have to go back to my car and then drive myself somewhere. But then they say you got 20 minutes kind of with the brown snake. So I've kind of been looking into maybe getting like a spot device or something for myself for safety. Because a lot of where I hunt, there's no service at all.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, wise choice.
Well, they say that a brown snake bite, so the venom only gets injected to your lymphatic system. And that only circulates when you are moving. So if you stay still, theoretically, you can stay there for as long as you want. So it doesn't actually get in your bloodstream. But yeah, just a
that'd be all right. But then you got dogs and the pig's probably going to get at me, and then who's going to come get me?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Pigs will chew on a human as well, I hear. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
No, definitely sounds like an EPIRB is in order, I think.
Do you run GPS collars on your dogs?
Yeah, so I'm really old school. I just have, I just got like the 40s and the 30s and a 320 handpiece, which is really old school. All like everyone now's got touchscreen, fancy ones, but I actually like the old school ones because I reckon they're a bit hardier than the newer ones. They can cop a bit more of a beating and get, a bit more wet. But yeah, I always have trackers on my dogs because the different country I hunt a lot of blade plough country. So that's all running. You can't drive through that stuff. And my dogs will go up to 2 kilometres. So you want to be, right behind them kind of thing. Otherwise, the dogs are there forever. And you want to be there, get the job done to make sure everything's safe.
We've never done it. So, like, this is all new to us. Like, down here in SA, there's not much pig hunting. So
no.
It seems like the wild, wild west to us. It's crazy. We want to do it, though.
Yeah. Oh, anytime you guys are in Queensland, hit me up. I'll definitely take you guys out. But essentially, I can explain how it all works, what I do. So, essentially, I kind of make sure I check my car over, make sure I've got all my tools I need. I carry a lot of tools with me, whether like it's plugged, air compressor, just general tools, like a whole toolkit to make sure if I need anything to fix. And then I've got lots of water. I carry extra water in my car, not only for myself, but for my dogs. If I've got no access to a water trough or a dam, I know my dogs are well watered. So then I make sure I've got my handpiece, my trackers are all charged. I've got enough. I always carry batteries. I carry 2 head torches, one that's electric charged and one that's battery operated.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything happens to me or like to the car and the car's not going and I can't charge my head torch and it goes flat, I have the battery operated head torch as a backup with lots of extra batteries. I got snake bite bandages in the car, first aid. When I traveled far distance, I always have a first aid kit for my dogs, which is huge because I used to be a vet nurse, but it's bigger than mine. I think I have a few Band-Aids and a bandage. If I get blisters or something. But essentially, I just make sure I'm prepared and I have everything I need. And I let my dogs out and they go to the toilet and I like plate them up, put the trackers on, and then I just set off. And when I set off, I usually have a route picked before I go. So I have an idea on which paddocks I want to go, drive around, where the pigs are living, where I've seen sign, or if there's a dead beast or something that they're chewing on. So essentially, I just pick my route and then I've got to work with the wind.
Yep.
Wind is a huge factor for me and my dogs because you want to be downwind of the pigs because the pigs will get a head start and they're actually the fastest land animal in the first 50 metres.
Oh.
They beat a cheetah. They are, in the first 50 metres, they're the fastest land animal.
Wow.
Okay.
So
Didn't know that.
you want to be ahead. Yeah, you want to be ahead of the pigs. So pigs have very terrible eyesight. They have great hearing and great smell, but eyesight's really bad. So yeah, you want to be downwind so the dogs can smell their scent. And I drive usually about 30k an hour. And the dogs are loose on the back. And I usually run 2 main dogs and a pup. And then just drive around. And when the dogs jump, if they go more than 150 meters, I just turn the car off and listen. Wait for the hit up. But if they're going once I hit the over 500 meter mark, I go. Like I follow where they're going because they can go very fast and it's a lot of running. And then you get knocked up and then you forget stuff. So yeah, I just try and make sure I'm prepared for anything. But yeah, so I just essentially drive around, let the dogs do all the work. And when I get the dogs have the pig, I go there, grab it, do my kill. And I reward my dogs with a pat and make sure they've got access to water because they're knocked up too. They always come first. My dogs will get water before I do. And make sure I check them over. They've got no rips, no holes, and they're fine. And then because I hunt on my own, I have my own little setup for like taking photos. So I'll stuff around for about 15 minutes taking photos because I'll have my camera all set up and I'm like, yeah, right, I go take the photo and the dog's tail will like butt my camera over. And then I'm like, bloody hell, then I get up and I settle up again. And then I sit there and I'm like calling the dogs over and then the photo's already taken. Then you do it all over again. And the dogs knock the camera over and dogs walk in front of the camera. It's so tiring. But yeah, so essentially that's how I go pig hunting anyway. So it's whether it's day or night. If I do day, I try and do like a water run, just go around some waters. In the summertime especially, I just do water runs. At night time, I might do a little bit more hunting, but mainly stick to waters because it is so hot.
Yep.
Yeah.
How often do you get out?
When I'm not busy living the best Instagram life, traveling everywhere, and it's not been because it's just been non-stop raining. It's been very, very wet, and I don't want to muck up any roads or anything like that. I'll get bogged and call my boss at 2 o'clock in the morning and be like, hey, can you come get me? You know, I don't think she'd appreciate that. So I go twice a week during the week and then it's like all weekend.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Bloody hell.
Oh yeah, I will. I'm committed. Like I will have a couple hours camp and then get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and go again.
Far out.
That's
a lot of hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
Sick.
bloody committed.
Oh yeah, and because that's when the big fellas are out. It's that early in the morning, you know. Yeah, I will hunt all day, half the night, go home, give the dogs a feed, make myself a quick feed, have a couple hours snooze, and then get up real early, do it all again, and then just like go all morning, all day, and then half the night again.
Jeez.
Far out.
If you like have a sort of a break from the hunting, do you find the dogs sort of get affected by that as well?
I think the dogs get keener.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so my dogs haven't really been out for a little while because I've been, you know, living this whole new life, traveling and meeting up with everyone, doing all that. Yeah, my dogs, when I go out, they act a bit silly sometimes. They like get more keen. They do a lot of cold scenting jumps, which can be quite annoying because the pigs are like 20 minutes away, which we're getting there. We're slowly getting there, but they're just picking up that cold scent and jumping and going out 100 meters and like, oh, we quite haven't got the scent, jump back on and then go another 100 meters and jump off again until they get the first pig. Once they get their first pig, I just let them be a little bit silly, get it out of their system, and then they're right to go.
Nice.
I can relate
Yeah.
to that. It's just like any human when you haven't been out for a while for a hunt. Like you know, you finally get to go out, you get all silly. And it's like, yeah, you're pissing your pants. You're that happy, man.
Yeah. So my dogs work like that. Like, obviously, everyone hunts different. Everyone hunts their dogs differently. But I let my dogs be silly if I haven't taken them out for 2 weeks or something because that's just nature. They're just going to be silly and no point getting cranky. And so I just let them be a bit silly or I run them for a little bit, lock them up a little bit so they're not as silly. But, yeah, I just let them be dogs.
What do you do with the meat after you're done? Feed them to the dogs?
Yeah, everyone asks me this. I leave it. I'm a bit wasteful, I know. Everyone's like, do you cook it? Do you eat it? I personally wouldn't eat it. Grubby old bush pig, full of worms and diseases and stuff, especially if there's brucellosis around. Yeah, I leave them. I probably want to get back into maybe getting accredited and start boxing them on the weekends. But it's so hard because I do a lot on my own. It's so hard to drag them out of creek beds or drag them out of the blade plough when they weigh like 80 kilos. It's a bit hard on my own. So, so I just leave it. But I catch a lot of pigs off dead pigs.
Yeah. So they feed on carcasses of other pigs?
Yeah, so I find that depending on your area, some areas pigs don't do that when there's plenty of feed for them. But when the feed is a little bit more scarce, yeah, I've caught heaps of pigs off dead pigs.
I think what people don't realise, or I mean, we realise, but they're a pest. So whether you're taking the meat or not, you're actually doing a good thing in terms of reducing the feral.
If they're
pig
healthy,
numbers.
they are a delicious pest, though.
Yeah, I mean they are, but like Paige said, if they're full of disease and they're shit, then you don't want to
much of
be
a
eating them
risk,
anyway.
yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely. They're a huge pest, especially where I am, like go out and for the day and be nothing to see 20 pigs, you know, and they are a massive pest, not only like cropping, rooting up the land and also they love killing lambs and sheep. So they do actually get very aggressive like that as well.
how do you go with wild dogs where you are as well? Do you get a few around there?
Oh, heaps. I had a very scary experience here. Like last time I went out, I just was forgetful that day and I forgot my belt. So I just had like my knife in the pouch, just carrying it freehand. And I gotten a good boar off a dead beast, my old girl, Princess. She found him 800 meters with no wind, which is incredible. And then one outed him for 10 minutes because it took me so long to get over there because we had to go through all these gates and find our way over there. And she had one outed, she got no teeth left in her head. And she was there with him for ages and got him. And then I was like, oh, I'm pretty happy with that. I'll probably go home for the night because I had to work the next day. And I was on my way home, and one ran out in front of us, and the dog's seen it, and they jumped, and it was like a big sow, like 80-kilo sow. She was really fat.
Jeez.
And I was running out there, and I lost a croc. And I'm like, oh, no, go back to me, croc.
Pretty
Going back
dangerous.
to me. And
You weren't in full
No,
drive.
obviously not.
I was not. That was my mistake. I was not in full drive. And then I realised he didn't have my knife on me. And I'm like, run all the way back. Like, I was only 200 metres, so it wasn't that far. But I run all the way back to the car, get my knife, and run back out there, kill the pig. And I'm like, right, she's a big girl. I want to get some photos. And then I hear this growling. And I'm like, sometimes my dogs growl at each other like, this is my pig. Like, I caught this. And, get out of that, you lot. And too busy on my phone trying to get the camera up. And then the dogs were, like, behind me. And then I heard the growling in front of me. And I was like, hold on a minute. And I was, like, kind of ignoring it, thinking, you're hearing things. Because I'm out in the middle of the dark on my own. And I'm, like, still, like, just taking like a little Snapchat, like just taking a photo of it. And the growling got like louder and more aggressive. And I was like, and then my head torch goes flat. And I'm like, hell no. Then the growling gets worse. And I'm like, I'm getting out of here. Like, I just booked it. I just like ran so fast. All my dogs like beat me to the car, and they're on the back of the car wagging their tail looking at me like, are you coming? And I'm like, do not look back. Like, do not look back. And I'm just like running as fast as I could. And I had a little pup with me, and I grabbed the pup, just chucked it in the car, and I got in my car, wound the windows up, and I was like, what was that? It was so scary because I like on my own and like this growling, it was so aggressive. And I was like, holy shit, this growling is just intense. It was a very intense moment for me, and I was like, oh. So now I'm like a little bit hawky going at night time on my own now. But yeah, I do have issues with dingoes when I'm pigging because they follow you, they stalk you. I've heard like lots of stories of dingoes like lugging up to the pig with their dogs, all that kind of stuff. So they because they're very inquisitive animals.
What I find so surprising is the fact that when you kind of needed the dogs to be aggressive, they were like, nah, not getting involved.
They were out of there. They were like, see you later, Mum. I'm getting on the back of the ute. And I was like, thanks so much. I think if like there was something there, I think they probably would have cut, like if it was following me, because I don't know what the hell it was.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it was a wild dog. My boss reckons it was a koala. She's like, it was probably just a koala because we get koalas out there. And I'm like, I don't think so. I'm like, it sounded like a pretty aggressive growl, but apparently koalas growl too.
Yeah, they sound pretty gnarly.
I was watching an Instagram video of a Chinese tourist getting attacked by, or a little kid was getting attacked by a koala the other day. It was insane. I didn't think they actually bothered to be that aggressive.
Yeah. No, so yeah, I've been stalked by dogs before. One night we were shooting and Mark had shot two dogs over they're not allowed to be called roof fences, but exclusion fencing. We shot two dogs over the other side of the exclusion fencing, and he's like, oh, could you just sort the roos out? So I was sorting the roos out, carrying anything that was on the road out into the bush. And I was out like with a handful of stuff. And he gets back and he's like, at the car, and he's like, get in the car. And I was like, what are you on about? He's like, just get in the car now. He's like, now, right now, get in the car. And I turned around because I know it tortured me because the gutting lights were on. And there was two dogs right there. And I was like, anxiety, like the anxiety just come out in me. It was like, holy moly. And I booked it back to the car. And they didn't make a noise. I had no idea they were there. There was no howling, no anything, no nothing. And I was like, we just shot at two dogs and we were getting them to scalp them. And they were just there, but we chased them down and got them.
Good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you have a few kicking about then, by the sounds of it.
Oh, heaps. Oh, the other day I was just driving to my friend's house and there was four, like a little pack of four there, and they were like playing. Yeah, just playing.
Do you ever take a rifle with you out for these sorts of situations with dogs?
Yeah, I've been really slack. I've just got like a little 22, which is perfect. So I should take my 22 out a little bit more. I've been really slack because I forget it. And then, or I leave it in my car and then I go to town to go to the pub and I'm like, well, you can't have a gun in your car and go to the pub. So I try and leave the gun out of the car because I often forget it's behind the seat.
Yeah, well, that's wise.
Yeah.
No, I should take the gun a little bit more often, in case of an emergency with the dogs or something, or like wild dogs, or there's more than one pig. I've come across where mobs will mob your dogs, like a mob of pigs. They'll have one pig. I was down in the creek one day, and the dogs had a little sow, and the whole mob turned around from running away, came back down and attacked my dogs, like just like rammed my dog.
Oh, wow.
And I was screaming at them like to get out of there. And the one time they actually listened, they got out because the mob pigs, they'd all just like back up and they'd like they do butt to butt. They get in like a big circle and they chomp and they grunt. But yeah, they will mob you if you're not careful.
Far out.
Never heard of that.
What breeds or crossbreeds of dogs do you run?
I love a good red dog. So I have a Ridgeback cross, I'd say a Mastiff she is. I run a bit of Bitches. So she's an amazing dog. I've had her for six years now, I think. And she is hardworking and she's so cool. Easy to have around, never barks, loves laying around in the sun. And then I've got two Bull Arabs, which are half sisters. Penny. So Penny is about coming on to 2 years old now.
Yep. And
she was a freak of nature from the get-go. From 5 months old. So I started taking them about 4 months old, just on being on the back of the ute, coming with me, having a smell of the blood, just getting used to the whole situation. I do not take them at night time, just during the day. But yeah, so Penny from like 5 months old saw her first pig bark straight away. Second pig, she started to have a bite. Third, oh, gee, sorry, I'm running a show here. Oh my God, the iPad's falling over. My iPad's going flat. What else could you want?
You're all good.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So, yeah, Penny, and then the fourth pig she was lugging, and then her fifth pig and a 5-month-old pup. We saw these pigs out in the Downs country, and sometimes Downs pigs play doggo, where they all just like lay down like this in the grass. And dogs find it very hard to pick up a dog laying in the grass because their scent glands are here and they tuck their feet in.
Oh.
And you can watch. I've watched so many times, like there's a pig laying right there in the grass and the dogs have actually stepped on it.
Wow.
And they can't pick the pig up. They can't pick the scent up.
All right.
So the really, really big pigs, that's what they'll do. That's why they're so big, because they will lay down and lay doggo. And the dogs can't pick the scent up.
That's crazy.
We're learning.
Yeah.
We're learning some cool
So,
stuff, Paige.
Yeah, learning some good stuff. And Penny, I was just running out there, and then she was just like nose on the ground, found her own, and one outed it, this 35-kilo sow, and she was 5-month-old pup, and just one outed it on her own. So she was just a freak of nature by a fifth pig. Then, like 6-7 months old, she was finding her own on the ground, one outing, everything. Then by like 12 months old, she's finding off the back and just doing amazing. So she's really cool. And then got her half sister, same mother, different father. And she's becoming a little ripper too. She's just getting right into it. She's only seen a handful of pigs and starting to really like what's going on and getting in there, which is really cool. And when I have young dogs, I don't expect anything from them. The less expectation you have of a young dog, the better, because they're just gonna, surprise you.
Yeah.
What they can do. Yeah. And then I just bought a new dog called Bella. She's a foxhound cross Arab. So I had previously owned a foxhound cross before. She was also a freak of nature, but I ended up selling her because she was going too far. She was just going Ks. because that foxhound just have an amazing nose. So I'm hoping with the Arab, she won't go as far. But yeah, she's only seen a couple pigs, 12 months old. Yeah, so she's never seen pigs before. So even at 12 months old and never seen a pig, I don't expect anything until hopefully by the 20th pig. If she hasn't showed interest by her about a 20th pig, then I'd probably move her on to a home, a non-hunting home or something. And I'm very picky about, where my dogs go if I do sell them on. Make sure they go to the right people.
Yep.
So I own all bitches.
With I'd imagine it'd be a lot easier having experienced dogs around your pups to sort of train them. But how did you go about training your first dog?
So training my first dog Penny was my first ever dog I trained, and I was lucky enough to have Trigger, who's passed now, and Princess to teach her. But my best advice to someone who is just starting off with pups would be just getting them stock proof, having basic commands because you want your dog listening to you, but just walk. Do a lot of walking the creeks. Going with dogs that are experienced does help, but if you don't have that, just walk a heap of creeks with your dog. Put a bit of faith in your dog, but don't have those high expectations. They're going to lug the first pig they see, And I think that's how you have to treat your dogs, is don't have huge expectations for them, because they are animals and they all make mistakes and they all just trying to please us, which is amazing. And we're so lucky to have, to have dogs that will do that for us. But yeah, that's my biggest advice. Just do a lot of walking. Walking's great.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Well, that's some good advice you've dished out for other people. But what is the best piece of advice you've been given, Paige?
Yes. So the 5 Ps. Have you heard of the 5 Ps?
Yeah,
Preparation prevents piss poor performance.
It's good advice. Yeah. We've all heard it, I reckon.
Yeah.
Whether it's been work or whatever else. Yeah, it's true. How have you applied that?
So definitely work-wise, I use it all the time. If you're going to check a fence, don't just drive off. Like, you need pliers, wire, pickets, everything. Just be ready. Even taking tools with you if you're driving past a trough and, the trough's overflowing and you don't have any tools and you got to go all the way back to get tools and you're wasting time. So, just being prepared. And, with my hunting, I'm always prepared. I always have my first aid kit stocked, ready to go. And then, like I said, my ute is full of tools if I need them. And then I've got always, if I am in service, phone a friend. And I'm so lucky to have amazing friends who are really mechanical wise if I need a hand too.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
How did you prepare yourself to go on Survivor? Did you do anything?
Did nothing. I didn't even watch an episode. I went in blind. I don't really have time for TV. So never seen Survivor, and everyone's like, "Oh, you probably should watch an episode." And I'm like, "Yeah, I probably should." But I didn't have time to prepare to watch because I had 3 weeks. By the time I had to fly to Brisbane to get an overnight passport, sort something out for my dogs because I wasn't just going to sell them because I could have been voted off by day 3, day 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So having amazing friends that were happy to look after my dogs. So buying 6, 7, 8 bags of dog food, leaving cash for them if they need more dog food. Kind of just I was not ready. I brought the wrong clothes. I was freezing. I would definitely be better, more prepared. I think I was prepared mentally for the game, I guess. I spoke to a previous player before going on just to get some sort of advice, and they told me the ins and out of production side of things. So I was kind of ready for that. But yeah, I didn't bother losing weight or doing anything because I'm glad I went on there with a little bit of meat on me because I didn't struggle with the hunger at all. I was hungry, but it wasn't, I'm just walking around saying I'm hungry, you just put it to the back of your mind. I never struggled being hungry. And the endurance challenges, if I wish I made it to merge because I would have killed it at merge. The endurance challenges, people have no resilience.
Yeah.
They can't, you're sitting on a horse all day and your back's bloody aching or your knees are aching, but you just push through because you got to finish the day. And yeah, so people have no resilience, and I feel like I did have a lot of resilience, and I could push through the pain, well, my pain tolerance as far as I could push myself. Like in the box challenge, how I lasted an hour and 8 minutes was insane.
Who let go?
I slowed that down. That was Shani. That dropped the box. So that's quite funny because there's a lot of stuff they don't show you as well. When she dropped the box, which was fine, I felt like I wasn't quite ready to drop the box just yet. But what they didn't show was Liz was crying, begging us to drop it. You know, she's like, please, like, can you drop the box? Like, we really don't need to go to trouble again. And then whether Shani felt sorry for Liz or the villains. And then when she dropped it and everyone came and cuddled us, like our group, our tribe, Shani come up to me and patted me on the shoulder and was like, oh, good try. And I was like, hell no. Hell no, you did not just say that. You know, like, you don't try and make it like, everyone's like, oh, that was really unfair sport. Like, that was bad sportsmanship, what I did. But if you think about Survivor, there's one winner.
True.
It's one winner, and they didn't show what Shani had said to me. And I was like, no way, you're not throwing me under the bus. I'm going to throw you under the bus.
Yeah, you filthied up a bit. At the end of the day, you were good to watch because I think you could tell you're just being your authentic self. Like, you weren't seeing someone like George, who's like almost a career Survivor player
He is a career. That's his career.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He just got it down to a T how he plays everyone and, you know, one person off against the other and crafts all these big moves. You could kind of see that with all due respect, like you could tell you hadn't, you know, you weren't a Survivor, you know, aficionado and you hadn't been studying it. Like you were just being yourself. But I kind of think that's better to watch, just someone being authentic.
100%. I think if I made it to merge, I would have had a really good chance of winning because I know it sounds really cocky, but I didn't burn any bridges and everyone, I felt very loved in the game and everyone, I got along with just about everybody and everyone was my mate and I made everybody laugh and I felt like, you know, I have a job that maybe, you know, pay $60,000 a year. You know, I could have really used the $500,000 to buy myself a new car or something, and so I think I would have had a good chance. But this is like getting there, obviously, and like putting other people before you, and that's what I did. And I will, if I ever go back on, I will definitely be playing for myself. So it was a bit of a shame, but like I said in my bio. Even if I don't win, as long as I come out making amazing friendships, which I did. So I'm really happy with that.
Yep. Yeah. So would you say you've come out really close to Flick?
Yeah. So me and Flicky are really close. I was so excited. She invited me to her hens. So I went over to WA, to Perth, and we went over to Rotto Island. It was all like fancy, very fancy and bougie and experienced a bit of the city life and that was really good. So Flick, really, really good mates. We had our own alliance called Surf and Turf.
Cool. That fits well.
Yeah, that fits really well. Yeah. And then very close with Sean. I feel a really special connection with Sean. He's like a big brother to me. And I like love the meat tray. Those boys are amazing.
Yeah, they're cool.
The meat tray.
Yeah, nice.
So really close with the boys. They are amazing men and they really showed me that there are really good men out in the world. So my expectation is Sean Hampson, so good luck to anybody who wants to give it a crack.
I got to ask, do you get people reaching out to you wanting to go out like on a date or anything because you've been on TV? Does that happen?
Oh, no. No, I've never. No. I don't think I have so many fans, I guess. They all probably think I'm a psycho. But, no. No, I haven't been asked out on a date. I'm a single, as you can probably get it. But I'm fine with being single too. I don't mind that. It's good to have, just to be on my own and learn to love yourself and know what your standards are. So it's really good. But, no. So if anyone listening, if you want to take me on a date, yeah, you've got to have the standards of Sean. That'd be great.
Have to be a gentleman. Do they have to be 6'8" or whatever he is? He's huge, isn't he?
He's so tall. I'm like so tiny beside him. No, they don't have to be that tall as long as they're not shorter than me.
Nice. Fair enough. Hey, Paige, next question. What is your most treasured possession?
So while I was playing Survivor, we were eating out of half-rotten coconut shells, and it was getting to the taste of the rice. That was stinky, and I think it was like day 2 or 3, and I was like walking along the beach, just having a bit of me time, and I found this huge clamshell, and I was like, oh, that's perfect for a plate because you can wash them, and it's the perfect like sizing, like portion sizing. So I kept walking along and I found like 13, 14 shells. And I was like, well, here, like I just started handing out really plates and everyone's like, you're so resourceful. Like, this is great. And I picked the best shell for myself, of course.
Yeah, of course. As you have to
the
do.
only thing I did for myself. And I got my shell and I put it in my bag every day. And Sam Webb on the show, he's like, I just love how you just have your little shell in your bag to yourself. I was like, yeah, it's the nicest one. So I took that home with me because I ate out of it every day. And I was really proud of that I could be so resourceful for everybody and be able to help and, yeah, be able to, you know, be thinking on my mind and be ideal. Like, that's really ideal compared to the coconut shells. And I was scared of customs, like bringing it home through customs because obviously, yeah. But yeah, I got it home and it's on my bedside table. That's my most, treasured possession.
That's actually probably the best answer we've had, to be honest. Yeah. Like 90% of people are like, my kids, my wife, this and that. And you're like, yeah, okay. That's not what we mean.
She chose a clamshell.
Yeah. We all like the clam.
No, it's a great story. It's probably good because most people probably would have picked up that shell and then just had that for themselves at camp and not offered others to the rest of them. So good work.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, good teamwork. But yeah, it was better than the stinky ass coconut shells, that's for sure.
Good teamwork. You're the one that went out and foraged for them and then brought them back to camp. I think it was all you, not teamwork.
Well, Paige, the next one's a bit of a 180. What's your favourite movie?
So my favourite movie would be Tomorrow When the War Began.
Very good.
It's an Aussie movie. I've read all the books. Love the books. I think I've read them 3 times over. And then they have an outer series after the war, which I also loved. It's just, I feel like connected to Ellie as the character. I feel like we're quite the same. We're both bossy. And, you know, she's a farm girl. And, I feel like quite connected with Ellie as a character. And I think it's a great movie. And I often think about what if it does happen? What would I do in that situation? And, and I think I would, have something like that set up in the bush. Yeah, quite like the movie.
Yeah, nice. I can see the Ellie connection. It was one of my favourite books growing up, for sure. I don't know if I think the movie did the book justice.
No,
they never do.
Oh,
no.
Definitely not. Definitely not. The book was way better. But yeah, I did enjoy the movie as well.
Yeah, it was good to see it, you know, on the screen. Something that you've loved. You know, even if it wasn't the best movie, it wasn't a massive Hollywood production. It was a good old little Australian production. But no, they still had a good crack at it. So, I mean, how do you see that scenario unfolding? Say we do get invaded and you've set yourself up. Like, is it just going to be the same sort of thing? You've found this little hidden place to go hide, or?
I'm going to go take my dogs. I'm going to go hide in a cave and live off the land. Because the war is absolutely terrifying. But I think, you know, when it comes to it, if I had to fight and protect, definitely would. And there's a lot of skills we can use, like they used in the books. I loved how they used bushfire to use against the enemy, which was a great idea because it worked so well. And I think there's a lot we could do, like old bushies that we could really do to make an impact if we needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of skills, maybe we're not necessarily what you call country people or rural or have farming skills, but as hunters and outdoors people, like there's just so much of a leg up over, city slickers in terms of just being able to do basic stuff and the way you see the world. Like if everything did go to shit, like we're a lot better off, 100%.
We are a lot better off than the city slickers. They're just gonna. Sorry.
Then they'll start loving the hunters.
Not be good.
Yeah.
They're going to struggle. But I think people who have skills, who've been in the bush and have done all that, will have an upper hand in that situation, whether it's even just shooting a gun or just having survival skills in general, which is quite funny because I've seen quite a few comments on, like, the Career Mail had my whole article up, and the comments, one of my favourite comments on there was, Survivor fans whinging that someone with actual survival skills playing Survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is so true. Survival skills. I have survival skills, and I did a fair bit of fire, kept it alive for so long, and especially arguing there with Stevie about the fire. Yeah. So, yeah, it's true. Like, having survival skills will be handy for us.
100%. Have you thought about doing any other more survivor focused shows, like Survival, like Alone or Naked and Afraid or anything like that?
I have been asked before Survivor to do Naked and Afraid.
Oh, really?
But yes, I have. But I said no because I'm a redhead and I would be like a tomato and I'd have to be nocturnal. I'd have to live in a cave and come out at nighttime because I would just cook. That's my only thing. Like, maybe if I was okay with the sun and had a good relationship with the sun, which I don't, I would be okay. But because I don't, I get burnt so easily. I could never do Naked and Afraid. Yeah. But also, I don't know if I could be butt-ass naked on the TV. Everyone, while I was playing, were like, you need to do Love Island or, be the Batchy. And I was like, hell no. Hell no. I am not doing any stupid love show. I've been asked to do Father Wants a Wife so many times. No, I'm not doing that either. No love shows for me. I think that's all ridiculous. But I would probably look at doing something maybe like Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely do Survivor again. I see they're casting now, so I'll probably put in for that. Or Big Brother.
Nice. It's funny. Yeah. I was actually at the footy on the weekend, and in front of me, there was a couple of empty seats, and then two people walked in, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I recognise these people. And I looked at my missus, and she's like, she looked at me, she's like, yeah. And then it sort of clicked. And one of them was Matt Agnew, who was on The Bachelor. And then next to him was Khan, who was on Survivor.
Oh, yeah, of course, Khan, yeah.
Yeah. So and they were just, watching the footy. So.
Yeah, it's quite – I've been stopped in the shopping, like when I'm out and about, been stopped heaps of times.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't know why, it's always in Coles. Always in Coles. And then once one person recognises you, then the next person comes and they're like, oh, can we get photos? And I'm like, first I get the whole are you Paige? And I'm like, oh, here we go. It's probably some animal activist. It's the cops are probably going to be called in a minute. It's going to go down. And they're like, oh, no, we're big fans. And so I do photos. People want to do photos, I do photos. But it's still very new to me and still very I go bright red and I get quite embarrassed. I got asked just to do a signature with Flick. We're in Coles, hungover as from the hands, and we look like death. And they're like, "Oh my god, we're huge fans. Can we please get your signature?" I'm like, "Oh my god, please do not ask for photos because we look like death right now." Thankfully, they didn't. And but yeah, I'm getting used to the whole being noticed. And obviously, while I was in Perth for the wedding, we were with King George and Simon.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, they'll get recognised over me. But we got lots of asks for photos. So, getting used to all that has been quite hard.
Well, you've made it easy for people. You got your signature yellow footwear on all the time.
Always have my yellow Crocs on. I know.
Yeah. No, I imagine it must be a weird thing. I was watching the two guys at the footy, and like a few people sort of cottoned on eventually, and then more people did, and then everyone's sort of asking for photos and stuff. I'm like, that must be a pain when you're just trying to, hang out and watch the footy, or go to Coles and buy some bread and milk. But it's cool, I guess, that people appreciate what you do and they want to have a photo with you.
Yeah, 100%. I get so really embarrassed about, like, I'm not as famous as everybody else. Like, everyone else is like way up there, but yeah, it is nice to be noticed that people did enjoy my game, or enjoyed me as a character on the show, even though, like, I try to play myself as much as I could. So it is nice, yeah.
Oh, well, your good character definitely shone through, so props to you.
Thanks, yeah.
All right, well, the next one we got for you is who should be a guest on this podcast, Paige?
Okay, so I have a really good friend over in the States who is a ranch bronc rider, and his name is JD Brock, and he is going to start his own YouTube channel very directly. And he was just on a podcast, Oregon Trappers Association. He's on episode 46, and all he does for a living is trap with snares. Yeah, he does beavers, wolves, coyotes. That's how they say it over there. Coyotes, coyotes. Yeah. So that's all he does for a full-time job is skinning and trapping, and he's a ranch bronc rider as well. So we connected to the ranch bronc thing, and we got to know each other, and he does a lot of hunting. That's all he does. And he's amazing to talk to. And I enjoy it. And he has these like little live videos he puts up on Facebook, and I always jump on there, and he's like, oh, here's Paige. She's always hunting hogs and like doing all this. And I really enjoy watching him, what he does, because he's really good at it. And he's really into beaver trapping, because beaver trapping is so big over there.
Yeah, wow. No, we'll definitely have to check out his stuff. That's a good one, Paige. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Sweet as.
Someone different.
Cool. We like it. All right. Well, the next one. What was your first firearm?
My first firearm was my great-grandfather's gun, which is my 22. It's Bruno, Model 1, and it's a late 40s make. So she's very old, but she's in pristine condition, and I'm all about the open sights. So I do open sights, and it has on it, 75, I think 75 meters is the furthest. So 75, 50 meters, and 25 meters. So you just like put the little flap down on like how far you want to shoot out.
Yep.
And yeah, it's all open sights, bolt action. Yeah.
Impressive.
Nice.
It'd be worth a mint, a mod one, late 40s right now. Like, it'd be worth a mint. Oh.
Yeah, and I messaged my grandfather. I was like, oh, what year is it made in? Because I wasn't quite sure. He's like, you're not selling it, are you? He was horrified. He's like calling me on the phone. He's like, you are not selling that gun. I was like, relax. I said, I'm not. It's for the podcast. Totally relax. But yeah, that's just like my little 22. I try and take with me when I remember it. But yeah, that's my little gun, and I shot it right from when I was a little girl, shooting ducks, walking around with my best friend. Had a best friend called Ashley, and me and him, we would just get on the quad bike at like 11, 12 years old, and then go over to the neighbours and go and shoot a heap of ducks or shoot a heap of carp that's like up on the top of the water in the rivers.
Yep.
And then come home with like a load of fish and ducks, and that's all we do. We just do that as kids, and grandfather would come home and he'd cook the duck up for us, or rabbits or anything. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Sounds like a perfect way to grow up, to be
Awesome
honest.
life.
Yeah.
In Africa, it looked like a Thompson Center. You had an old... Yeah. How'd you find that?
375 Thompson Contender is what I shot with. I was really nervous shooting it because I was only 17. I was like, the kickback, I'm going to break my arm, break my shoulder. But when you're hunting like that and you've got that beast in front of you in the scope, that adrenaline is just taking over. It doesn't matter like what that kickback is. And the first thing I shot was the warthog, and he was 200 meters away. I did a heart and lung shot. It was a perfect shot, and he did his little run, and then he went down, and we tracked him with the blood, and it was great. And then he drove up the road a bit more, and then I got the kudu, and that was on the 7th day. So it took 7 days to shoot something.
I think that's the other thing people don't realise is sometimes you're out there just
Yeah.
walking around and doing all the hard work, and then you finally get a payoff like a week later. That's some hard yards.
Yeah. So by that said, everyone had shot something but me and my professional hunter, which they call them a PH over there. And he was really impressed because, I was like, oh, there's some antelope up there. And he didn't even see them. And he was like, wow, like you have a good eye for that in the bush. And so everyone had shot everything and we were going home on day 11. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm just never going to shoot anything. Like it's day 7 and we had planned to do a bit of touristy things in the next couple of days and not do finish up the hunting, and I hadn't shot anything. And finally just the perfect animal came. I shot this big warthog and then this big kudu come out and it was just perfect.
So, Paige, I've got to ask, and this is something we ask most of our guests, is there a dream hunt and location that's still kicking around there that you want to get done?
I really want to shoot, this is so bad. I really want to shoot a giraffe.
Oh.
I know. It's so I don't tell anyone because everyone's like, oh, cool fucking giraffe. But they're cool animals. I really want to see one. Like, Tess from over in the States, she got absolutely raped by the media as well because she shot a giraffe. So that was when I went back to Africa, that was on the list. If I ever do go back, that's on the list, a giraffe. But I think it'll be a little while before I go back over there because I think it's a bit dangerous at the moment with everything going on over there. But in Australia, I've never shot a deer.
Oh,
wow.
Wow.
Yeah, never shot a deer. That's the only thing I haven't shot. So I'm pretty keen. That's on the bucket list, is to shoot a deer. And then obviously I would love to catch a big whopper, just a big 150 kilo pig with my dogs. That's, I catch a lot of big pigs, but would love to hit the big scales. But a deer anywhere. So I should come down to Vic and do a bit of deer hunting sometime in the future, hopefully.
There's deer up where you are. It's Reds, Chittle, Fallow.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. No, it's got a couple mates that are down in Victoria that hunt. So it'd be good to go as a little group and, experience that. But, deer is probably on the list.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bit of a road trip. Get a nice big sambar in the high country. It's funny, people, if you haven't done something, you want to do it. So that's to us, hunting deer is what we mostly go for. So we're after stuff that's more exotic now, as our bucket list item. So I don't know, that's still cool though. There's nothing wrong with that. We should mention, well, if you're ever in South Australia, we'd love to take you out for a deer hunt. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
That would
I'd be keen for that.
Yeah. Bloody oath, it'd be good fun. So, any other questions for Paige, boys?
I think we're good.
Yeah. What's your next adventure like? So, what are you up to next? Are you back out to some property? Are you just doing a bit more travel? What's next for you?
Yeah. So this week I'll finish up in Melbourne, which is actually a bit scary being in Melbourne because of all the animal activists. Bit scared to even go to Coles, which I shouldn't be, but a little bit nervous about being approached. So I'll finish up in Melbourne, seeing some family, and going to Morgan Wallen, which I'm very excited about. And then I'll head back home to Brizzy, and the finale for Survivor is on.
Yep.
So I'll watch that with my mates like Simon, and I think Gerald's going to be there, and a few of the other Survivor players. Maddie's going to be there. And then go home, and I think I just need to build my money back up because it's been expensive. flying to WA, then to Melbourne, and having a week and a half off work, 2 weeks off work. So hopefully it stops raining back at home and I can just get into hunting. It's been a while between injuries and the rain. I've had a bit of a break from hunting, so I'm keen to get back in there, get these young dogs started. Yeah, just do a bit of pigging, a bit of relaxing, and then in a couple of months I got another wedding to go to Darwin. So really keen to go up there, hopefully meet a few people up there, make a trip maybe one day up into the territory, which would be sick.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think really like going back and cooling down and relaxing from all the partying and living the high life essentially.
I imagine it's been a bit of a change up.
Yeah. Oh, it's been good. It's been fun. Just enjoying I don't know if you'd really call it a celeb life, but doing a bit of traveling around and catching up with everybody because a lot of people I haven't seen since being voted off.
Yeah.
So it was really good to see them and meet their other halves and their family. And we're going to go all out to dinner Sunday night before I go home. So that's exciting. And yeah, I just want to go back to pigging. I just feel like I've been forever since I've been hunting, and my sponsors are probably, like, what is she doing? Like, is she? Yeah. I feel like I need to up my game a little bit more. Just been so busy, but they've been very, very good throughout Survivor and throughout, having that little time gap with my injuries as well. And yeah, just going to get back into it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, give them a plug if you want. Who's sponsoring now?
So I've been with Buck and Boar Hunting Dog Accessories. They're from Victoria originally. Just moved up to Queensland, which is great. So they had bugger all business from Queensland buyers. And then I won a Facebook competition where you like and share, and I won a neck collar and a hat, and that hat just like became my hunting hat. Wore it all the time, and then she, messaged me. She's like, would you like to be sponsored? So I've been sponsored by these guys going on 4 years this year, which is a very long time.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so lucky. Dee has been amazing, and anything I need or want, she's got it ready for me. And their gear is such quality gear. Like, I've had those plates for years now, and they're still going strong. And I'm really honest with her if it needs to be thicker or it needs to be thinner. And that's what she wants, that kind of feedback of honesty. And I think that's what builds a great little business between us two, is just being straight up honest. And, hey, this pig's tusk went straight through this one. This one needs to be thicker, or they're just, the straps are just a little bit too long or too short. And then also very lucky, Bristle Up are huge supporters of me, and they're massive. And I'm so lucky to have support from Jessie Farr and Beck Holt from them guys. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. It's definitely as a business owner, it's definitely such an advantage to have someone out in the field putting your gear through the absolute stresses and strain of how it should be used. So I'm sure you're doing them a big favour, as much as they give you some cool gear.
Yeah, so I'm very lucky to be sponsored by those guys, and I appreciate it a lot. And they look after me as much as I look after them. And I think in the world of social media these days, everyone's on it. Everyone's into it and trying to get their businesses out there. So I'm happy to support any small businesses. And yeah, if for more opportunities hopefully come from the Survivor experience, like opportunities with this podcast has been amazing. So it's been great. It's my first ever podcast.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so it's exciting.
You've done well, Paige.
Yeah.
We've got to say a big thank you to you for being on. How can people find you on social media if they want to check out your stuff?
Yeah, Cowgirl Paige. Pretty simple, straight out there. Yeah, chuck us a follow. And, if you're in the hunting world, and I'm happy to chuck a follow back as well. And I just post my content. At the moment, it's been like the lavish life at the wedding. Probably first time, a lot of firsts for me. It's first a lot of people see me actually being dressed up and having makeup on and doing all that. So it's been nice. But yeah, hopefully get back more into the hunting content. I have thought about starting a YouTube channel, and I just don't have time for editing. Like, editing is just a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've got so much content like filmed, but I just don't have time for editing. But I just post what I can on social media, and I try and keep it very clean and very straight to the point.
Yeah.
What you need to do is find yourself a fella who's a keen videographer who loves editing, and then you can just tick all those boxes.
Well, there we go, guys. If there's a good editor and videographer out there, hit me up. My DMs are open.
Beautiful. All right, well, I think we'll leave it there, Paige. You've been really great tonight, and we've got to say such a big thank you to you for your time. And, we've got a real kick out of talking to you and learning about what you're up to. So,
Yeah,
cheers.
thanks, guys.
Thanks, Paige.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Catch ya.
Catch you later.
Gotcha.
G'day, dude and dudettes. Josh here. Do you find it hard to keep your long, hard barrels free from gun STDs? Maybe you need a clean out of your bore. If this is you, jump on over to highcaliber.com.au and use the promo code SENDITMATE to receive a 10% discount on all your gun cleaning needs. And remember, it's sexy to support Australian-made products. Everyone here at Send It Mate uses High Caliber, and we can promise you that it'll keep your firearms free from those pesky gun STDs.